We are in the Capitol building here. Oh man!
Sir,
Tell me.
that's your, yep. Remember, you don't want to lose me. All right, like I said, I promise. You walk slow. So that we're all together. But for right now, this way we get to be kind of off to the side and we can tell you a bit about the building before I keep going. So like I said downstairs, my name's Catherine. Welcome to the Capitol. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask or bring up, ask away. It is your tour of the Capitol, so we want to make sure you get the most out of it. And what brings you guys to DC? Are you all here for a conference or?
White House.
White House. All right. You're visiting the White House? Excellent. Not really. Coming to the White House? All right. Well, welcome to the other branch of government. We're happy to have you in the Capitol building. Has anybody toured here before?
No.
Okay, 1, 2 returnees. All right. Welcome back. For the rest of you, welcome to the Capitol for the first time. It's a fun place to tour. And one of the best things about this building is it is a constant work in progress. We started building in 1793 and we have yet to finish. So the most recent part we put in is the Visitor Center. If you folks came before, you may not have seen that part of the Capitol. It opened in 2008. And this time, to expand the Capitol building, we went directly underground. So where you started is actually officially part of the Capitol. Back in 1793, we started working on the north wing. We're going to take you to the oldest part of the building during the tour, so you'll see that as well. And ever since, we've just kept on expanding, building, rebuilding, fixing, renovating, until we got the building you stand in today. You're actually directly in the center. So if you're looking for where you are, if you picture the Capitol building outside with its middle dome and the two wings, you are directly below the dome. Now you may have noticed we're doing a little work on that. So my first explanation is to please excuse our dust while we renovate. You saw the scaffolding outside. This is also part of the project. We call this the donut. And this is a safety net so that nothing falls on our heads while we're in here. And what we're doing is we're renovating our Capitol dome. It's a beautiful dome. It's a big symbol of the Capitol. And it's actually one of the pieces we put on after we started building. So this is actually an addition to the building. Congress decided to put this dome on about the 1850s. They were looking to make the Capitol bigger. They wanted it to be more grand. Originally, they had a much shorter dome on the building that kind of looked like a big safari helmet, and they decided they didn't like that anymore. It was also made of wood and copper, and if you saw in the film, we had a big fire here. In 1814, the British burned the Capitol. Congress is very afraid of fire, and so they decided they want a much more permanent dome. So the one you're standing under was built between 1855 and 1865, and it is completely made of cast iron. So this is a brand new building material. We've never tried this before on a building. Cast iron's really light, so this is how you get a dome twice the size on the same room you had before. And it's in two pieces. This is how we get to stay up. So right now you're in the inner dome. This one sits on the rotunda like a little hat. The big one outside that you saw coming in is actually the shell that goes over this one. And it's about 9 million pounds of iron, and it's 150 years old. So we're renovating because it is rusting. And it's pretty much reached its limit. We decided to do the whole dome. We've never done this before. Right now they're peeling off all the old lead paint that's on there from the last time they painted. They're going to fix all of the iron underneath at once. We're keeping most of the original iron, so it's 150 years old, and it's still holding up pretty well, despite the things we're fixing. And then we're putting a brand new coat of paint back on. So this is supposed to take about 3 years. We're in year 1 right now, so it's going along at a pretty good clip. What we're really happy about, though, is that it doesn't distract very much from any of the artwork, so we still get a lot to show you in here. And if you look up in the center of the dome, kind of in the middle of that donut, you've got one of our most famous paintings. Congress decided when they put their brand new dome on the building, they didn't just want a new dome, they wanted a beautifully decorated one, like all those domes they've seen in Europe. And so they decided to hire an artist to paint them a beautiful fresco across the whole ceiling. The only problem is nobody in America really knows how to paint a fresco on a dome. This is new for us. So they end up hiring an Italian immigrant. His name is Constantino Vermiti. He's come over from Italy, where he was a fantastic painter. He used to work at the Vatican, so domes and heights certainly don't bother him. And Congress hires him to do the job. As you can imagine, he's absolutely thrilled, so he plans out this beautiful epic painting. And we call it the apotheosis of George Washington. If you look up in the center there, George Washington's got the middle of the painting. He's wearing a military jacket. He's kind of upside down to you all. He's He's got a sword in one hand, and if you look very closely, he's surrounded by all women. So Mr. Washington sits in the middle. He's got victory and liberty on either side, and then there are 13 girls around him. We started with 13 original colonies, so Bermini makes each one a lady.
Oh my goodness.
On the outside of the painting, he puts in a little bit of home. He adds 6 Roman gods and goddesses, and they're helping with different American inventions. So Washington's apotheosis is actually George Washington rising into the heavens, so he gets to sit surrounded by the gods. If Congress asked you to paint an epic painting for their brand new Capitol dome, this is the kind of thing you put up. And they love it. Especially since, if you can imagine, that painting is about 4,000 square feet. It's roughly the size of this floor. It took him 11 months to do it by himself.
Wow.
All those figures up there, they're about 15 feet tall. Pretty impressive. And they're so thrilled with Bermini, they actually made him official artist here at the Capitol. He painted a huge section of the Senate side of the building. They're always on the north side. And then they brought him back to the Rotunda. So he actually has a second project in here. And this is one of my favorites. If you look up, there's a gray and white ribbon that goes all the way around the room. We call it the frieze of American history. It's supposed to be a timeline. So if you were to look above this doorway here, it starts with Christopher Columbus coming down off the ship, and it goes all the way around until you reach the Wright brothers taking off in the first airplane. So it's about 300 years of history, 19 scenes.
Wow.
It is a completely flat-to-the-wall 3D painting. And they want Bermini to paint it for them because they don't have the time or the money for sculpture. Bermini's a really talented man, and they know that if he paints it to look like statues, then their problem's solved. The only issue is, our friend Bermini is 73 when he starts. So he sketched the whole thing out for them, and then he heads up above here and starts painting. And he dies of old age right about there. So, the Congress hires a second Italian artist. His name is Filippo Castagnini. They hand him the sketches, and they send him up to finish the project. The second problem is that no one tells him the sketches are one height, the painting is actually taller. Figure Bermini is probably adjusting for that. Castagnini doesn't know anything about it, so he just starts filling in the drawings. If you look, they start to get bigger and bigger. I think he starts to worry that he's running out, and sure enough, by the time he reaches the California Gold Rush, these men with the pickaxes and the shovels, he realizes he's completely out of drawings, and he's staring at